Hello!
And welcome to the second episode of the Holoception Devlog.
We will mainly cover 3 small topics today. The first one will be about the physics-based door we have been working on for the room setup. And the second one, Dennis will tell you more about.
Then we will talk a little bit deeper about the stabbing mechanics and what were the challenges we had to face.
And last topic will be the AI, what we have been working on to improve the AI in the room-based mechanic, that it becomes a little bit more interesting in what you can do with them and how you can interact with them.
So let's take a deeper look.
Okay, here you see the very first approach to physics-based doors in Holoception. As you might glance when you look very carefully, some things are not working perfectly as you would expect.
So yeah, we can clearly see that something as simple as a door opening can create many problems and not behave at all the way you expect it to, especially when everything is physics-based.
And here you see how it was after a few iterations and a few fixes on the physics-based system. Here it appears to be working rather well. You can slowly open the door, you can peek through the door, as well as use either guns or spears to open the door slightly and peek behind it, or have enemies interact with them. Even though it's a lot harder to make something work and look good and feel good as an animation-based approach, it then gives you a vast possibility to interact with those things once they're implemented in a good way.
And many times it gives you some funny, unexpected, satisfying moments, even though they were not even designed to work like this, but you always get some surprises.
Yeah, and even use enemies themselves as door stoppers or
door openers.
Yeah.
So here you can see the first iteration of the stabbing mechanics. The first victims were, of course, some cubes, as usual. The main point here was to have the stabbing feel accurate and satisfying, that when you stab an object, you can feel the resistance inside the object, that your arm also can get some reaction, both when you enter or try to exit the object. Of course, you can stab multiple times an object with here knives, for example. Everything is still fully physics-based. You can stab static object, you can stab enemy, you can do many kinds of interaction with it. They're still animated, of course, when you stab them. You can, of course, multi-stab them as well. The dismemberment is still active, so you can still do whatever you want with them. Throwing of weapons, still experimental, but is also something you can do. And here you can see the stabbing in action in the first experimental mode we did.
And the main part here, which you can see, is that the stabbing itself, although very satisfying, creates an interesting challenge for the player, because here, for example, he had to throw away the spear because the enemy was basically still attached to the spear, and it's very hard then to use it because the weight of the spear increases because there's another enemy attached. And so that's why you can easily switch weapons, and you also have the time to use the shield to maybe block a few enemies until you can get rid of the enemy which is still attached to your spear, which creates some fun mechanics in the game, and we'll explore those mechanics, of course, further as we refine them, because there's still some small issues remaining which we have to solve until we have it in the game.
Hello, I'm Mate. You can also find me under the nickname MattSnippets on our Discord. I'm a developer on the Holonautic team, and I'm gonna talk about some of the AI-related stuff I've been working on this week. As Roger and Dennis mentioned in the previous video, we've been trying to increase the complexity of Holoception's gameplay by adding exploration and stealth mechanics to the game. Naturally, more advanced gameplay requires smarter enemies, so improving how those little guys behave was a big part of this week's work. As we already had enemies seeing the player and giving chase, the next item on the to-do list was to make them hear and react to suspicious noises, whether it was the player's footsteps, a gun being fired, or items dropped on the floor. The recent changes make enemies detect sounds in their vicinity, and they immediately go and investigate. The player can even lure them away by making noises. The player footstep sound radius is based on player speed. That means the player walking slowly makes less noise compared to running around. So, step by step, the enemies are getting smarter. But increasing complexity also creates new problems to tackle. We need to reorganize the behavior tree currently used for our AI system to make it more flexible and modular. But more on that another time.
I hope you enjoyed the small, deeper look into the few mechanics we showed you this week. We will, of course, come back next week, and hopefully we can show you something interesting Dennis has been working on.
Still one of the main tasks we're currently actively working on is porting the game to the Quest, and that is facing many challenges, but we will show you a lot more next week.
Until next time.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.